This is J. Krishnamurti's fourth public discussion in Saanen, 1974.
What shall we this morning talk over together? Madam?
And that leads, it seems to me, in those that are not themselves attentive, to those fields of imbalance and fragmentation. There is a feeling that the speaker has extraordinary understanding of the problem of most of those that come to listen to it. But at the same time, there is also the feeling that the speaker is being isolated from other fields of human existence, and therefore his listeners with him.
It's a rather long question. And if I may put it briefly, why is it that though the speaker talks so passionately about responsibility and so on, why is it that most of us haven't got that flame? Is it because he is missing or doesn't take into account other areas of human existence?
On Thursday you said one must stay with the fact of being hurt to understand hurt. Would you go into that?
Can we go into the question of being hurt from infancy till we die, and whether those hurts can ever be wiped away from the mind? Is that it? Comment, madame? De le? Attention. What do you mean by attention? Physical? Physical tension. Could we, including that lady's long question, could we take up attention, and perhaps we can include in that great many other questions, areas which we have not touched, according to that lady, areas that in which we have been hurt, deeply wounded consciously or unconsciously. And if we could talk about attention and the physical attention too, perhaps then we could go into all this. May we take up the thing called attention? Would that...
Can we go into the discussion of communication as well?
Communication. All right, so let's talk about communication and attention. Any other thing? Is it possible to bring about a child without conditioning him?
My work requires me to use my mind, technology. How can I have a balance between the psychological quiet and the activity of the mind in my work?
How can I have a balance, a harmony between the noise of my activity in the functioning and also inwardly at the same time keep peace and quietness and all that? Could we talk more about suffering, injury, that is hurt, suffering, energy, and action? What do I mean by the heart? Nature of? Feeling. Nature of healing. Look. Nature of healing. And all the questions, how can I keep the noise and the activity outwardly and inwardly be quiet and bring about a balance? Can we bring up a child without conditioning him? And so on. Now, amongst all these questions, which is the central question, if in discussing it, perhaps we'll include all the others? What is the central question that will cover all the other questions? Yeah. I thought so too, but I wanted you to say it. Attention. I wonder why we are inattentive. What is the relationship between attention and the lack of attention? Is attention the opposite of no attention? And what do we mean by attention? And can that attention be sustained right through? Or there is always a gap between two attentions which we call inattention. What is attention? And what is it to be inattentive? There is somebody knitting in here, knitting a scarf, probably, or a jersey. And then can that lady or man pay attention to what is being said? Can we divide attention in knitting talking, looking, listening, and let me put it on the other way, simpler. Inattention, being attentive, is there in it any kind of division? We are exploring it, please. I'm not. What is the difference between attention and concentration? Concentration, it is suggested, has motive. Then why do you want to be attentive? So let's begin slowly. Let's go into it. First of all, there is awareness, to be aware. Then there is concentration and attention. Is awareness different from concentration? To be aware, let's examine that word. You want communication. The gentleman asked, go into the question of communication. That's what we're doing. First, what do we mean by the word to be aware? I am aware that you are all sitting there. There's a tent over us, and it's very hot. I'm aware of all the colors and the shape of the head and so on and on. That's fairly simple. Is the mind aware of its own activity? As I am aware, as the mind is aware of all the thing that's going on around me, is the mind aware, cognizant, conscious of what is going on within the sphere of the mind? Are you aware of your thoughts, of your feelings? Are you aware that you are fidgeting, scratching, yawning, pushing your hair back? Are you aware of all that? As you are doing it, not after. So what does awareness mean? I am aware between this and that, right? I am aware of conflict and violence. I am aware of beauty, the loveliness of a tree, the flowing waters, and the human quality of a voice. I'm also aware my responses to the human voice, to the river, to the mountain, to the lovely tree. Are we aware of all this? One said, This is not a speech by me, by the speaker. We are examining, investigating together. Therefore, when we are investigating together, there is communication, not only verbally, but also intellectually and much deeper. And non-verbal as well as verbal communication. Right?
You're not aware of those things because we identify them, name them, and in so doing, you're not aware.
What, sir?
You're not aware of any of those things because when we see those things, we give them names.
Now, I'm just asking you, are we aware of the movement of thought? Are we aware of the starvation of hunger of millions of people? Not what we read in the paper or in the magazine or an article, or somebody telling you millions are starving, but the awareness of a mind that is perceptive, sensitive, alive to all these problems. Is this awareness sequentially or simultaneous? Is it simultaneous or moving occasionally? You are asking me questions. You are not investigating. He doesn't understand. Is awareness a continuous movement? Right? Voluntary or is it involuntary? Go slowly, sir, please. When are we conscious of anything? That is, when are we aware of anything? Is it we are aware, conscious, when there is pain? Or when there is great pleasure? Or are we aware, non-descriptively, non-verbally, of the areas of human existence which the mind has not touched at all? You follow all these problems?
How can you be aware of an area which the mind...
We're going to find, I don't know, sir. We're going to find out. First of all, to be aware, one has to be sensitive, hasn't one? No? Both physically and psychologically. How can you be physically sensitive when you are overeaten? Right? When you are sexually indulgent. When you are concerned with the physical, sensational satisfactions. Come on, sir, discuss it.
There's also the question if you are a vegetarian, you're not getting enough B vitamins in your mind.
If you are a vegetarian and don't get enough vitamin C and B and complex and all the rest of it, then the vitality of a poor vegetarian chap goes down. The speaker has been never eaten meat in his life.
I don't eat meat either.
What?
I do not eat meat either.
Kiss Gildi? Good.
But I do make sure my nutrition is balanced.
Sir, we're not discussing nutrition, if you don't mind, but I'm asking, when our minds are insensitive, our bodies are insensitive, with drink, smoke, and all the rest of it, beer, going crawling from pub to pub, and so on, so on, so on. Your body isn't sensitive. That's all. Don't enlarge on that, whether you should be a vegetarian, how much vitamins you should have, and so on, so on. So, physically, most of us are not sensitive, alive physically. Psychologically, inwardly, we are hardly sensitive to what is going on inwardly. Aware of our hurts, aware of our ambitions, violence, hatreds, personal antagonisms, and so on, so on, so on. And mentally, intellectually, we are second-hand people. Because we read others, books that are written by others, we are copying others, quoting others, relying on what philosophers, psychologists say, and so on. We are all educated to be second-hand. So, mentally, intellectually, psychologically, physically, there is not total sensitivity. And shouldn't there be that quality of sensitivity, not to your particular desires, to your particular wants, but being sensitive. And that is the beginning of awareness, right? No? I agreed, sir. I agreed. If you don't have proper diet, your body naturally won't be sensitive, won't have enough energy.
And the organs of your body have priority. Your brain does not.
Agree, sir, agree. That's why they say you must do yoga or exercise, walk, all the rest of it. We admit that the body must be healthy, sane. Body has its own intelligence. If taste doesn't dictate or destroy or distort that intelligence, therefore that's understood.
I don't think it's understood by a majority.
He says that is not understood by everybody. That smoke, drink, alcohol, drugs, and so on does coarsen the body. And proper diet, according to one's body and the examination of that body, giving it proper care is necessary. Agreed, sir. If the others don't see it, I can't push them and you can't push them. The next question is, psychologically, inwardly, are we aware of our responses? Are we aware when we are not telling the truth, when we are indulging in double talk, when we are saying one thing and doing something else, when we are quoting others? You follow this whole phenomenon of being second-hand. Which is to be traditional. How can there be psychologically and also at deeper levels when we are merely repeating, conforming, following tradition? So one has to go into this question of what is tradition? What value has tradition? And so on. May we? I'm doing all the talking, it's too bad. Yes, sir. We are aware, seeing and reaction, but we are aware of that reaction later. Is that it, sir? We are not aware of the reaction as we see. Perhaps we can come to that, sir, if we could go into this question. Why the mind, psychologically and all that, why the mind functions in tradition. Which is to conform. Conform to an example. The gentleman yesterday said, there is a perfect example. And why do we need an example? Is that not conformity? Is there not imitation, fear, and authority and following? All that is traditional. We have had thousands of examples, right? And we want to be that. And in that, there is the acceptance, non-verbally, essentially, the authority. Tradition implies authority, conformity, imitation, following. No? Oh, come on, sir. And we think, pardon. It's much easier when you have an example. You feel at home. You feel comfortable. You feel you haven't got to do anything. You just follow the poor chap. Now, all that is tradition. Following, accepting, being second-hand. In that is implied comparison. You are better than I am, and therefore I must be like you. All that is implied in that word, tradition, to hand over. Knowledge in various departments, scientific and all that, and also knowledge as tradition handed down from generation to generation. Now a mind, the psyche, psychologically that follows, how can such a psyche be sensitive? Go on, sir, please. Mais je n'ai pas tout à fait compris.
La vie est une structure et qui se maintient et qui se reproduit grâce à sa mémoire. Et la conscience qui l'enveloppe ou la transcende vient du corps ou vient de l'extérieur du corps.
I haven't quite understood the question. This gentleman is saying, life is a form of tradition, is a form of continuity. Is that what you're trying to say, sir? Sir, look, sir, we are discussing, we're trying to find out what tradition is. Huh? Sir, there is the physical structure, the genes, and all the rest of it. Physical structure. We are not talking about the physical structure. We said psychologically, inwardly, how can there be sensitivity if that inward structure is essentially based on tradition? That's all we are saying. Beg pardon? Sir, are you traditional? Move from the physical, of course that's understood. Move from the physical, and are you traditional? Traditional being, accepting authority, accepting an example, following, imitating, conforming, and educated to be deeply second-hand human being. Of course we are.
Perhaps thought always has opinions about the truth.
Tradition being the past. And the psychologically, we live in the past. I hope you're following all this. Am I talking to myself or is it too hot? And can a mind that lives in the past, at whatever area, religiously, psychologically, intellectually, even in science, the real scientists cannot possibly accept this idea of being. You follow all that. Now, can the mind become aware of all that area? Please give your attention to this. It's rather interesting if we go into it. See, there are these things. We are educated to follow. We are educated to accept. We are educated to conform. Let's keep to those few other things that are. Now, are you aware of it? And if you do become aware of it, then you have the problem of choice. Don't you? That is, how can I live without the indications of what is right and wrong established by the past? Are you following? So you have choice, whether you should do this or that. Right? That is, being aware. Just look at the map of tradition. Being aware of this map of tradition, authority, conformity, acceptance, obedience, taking a vow, resisting, dividing, conflict, sorrow, all that is within the area of tradition. When you become aware of all that, you say, which is the right thing to do amongst all this? Right? I wonder if you... Now I'm questioning whether awareness has any choice at all. The gentleman says no and the lady says no.
Awareness is, intelligence is operating when awareness is, therefore there's no choice.
So, I'm sure you're not theorizing. Therefore, you are saying, as a fact, where there is confusion, there is choice. Right? That's a great thing to admit. You understand? It's not an intellectual admission or acquiescence, agreeing with something because you think it, but it is a, if you are aware of, if you realize the significance of it, that the mind, when confused, chooses. Politically, you follow? Chooses between this guru and that guru, between this religion and that religion, between this symbol and that symbol. You follow? When you are confused, this is the inevitable action. So I'm asking, has awareness any choice at all? Or you are aware, in which there is no choice? I am aware of aeroplane. I am aware of all the colors here, the variety, the extraordinary colors. And I'm just aware. Why should I choose? I choose only some material which pleases me, right? Bright, pink or red or white or something or other. But when I observe, when I am aware, there is no choice. So, can the mind be aware of this whole map or area of tradition? You, not me. Can you be aware of your second-hand thoughts? All thoughts are second-hand anyhow. Can you be aware how you conform? And what does conformity mean? Where do you draw the line of conform and not conform? You follow? Where do you say, obviously it is necessary to adjust oneself to a particular culture, right? Putting on trousers or whatever you do. And at another culture which says, it's so hot, don't put on trousers, put on something else. You're following all this? Now, where do you draw the line between conformity and non-conformity? Now, please listen quite. When you are aware, is there a demarcation between the two? And don't agree, please. Do look at it. Because for most of us, conformity is almost instantaneous. In the world of fashion, in the world of crazy things, in the world of ideas, and so on and on. With great ease, we adjust ourselves. We conform ourselves. And I'm asking, when you are aware of this conformity, intellectually, psychologically, and perhaps physically too, because somebody says you must do yoga and you trot out and do yoga. And you must be vegetarian and you are vegetarian. You know, all the rest of it. Conform. Where is there a freedom from conformity? You understand? Do inquire with me, please. It's very interesting. Not verbally, but actually find out if you can be free, if there is such thing as freedom, and what place has conformity in freedom. You understand what I'm saying? Just a minute. There's no, it's only the man in prison that knows there is freedom and wants to be free. When you're free, you're not, no, madam, look, do you know what conformity is? Wait. And the mind is asking, when you become aware of it, what takes place? No, madam. If I am aware that I am conforming, there is the whole problem of why does the mind conform? Why does the mind conform? Fear? No, don't shrug your shoulders. That is tradition. You have been brought up like that, and if you don't conform, there is fear. There is the sense of lack of security. Physically, you might lose your job. Please. Huh? So where is there non-conformity? If our mind is merely conforming all the time, one is living in prison. And being in prison, it's no good saying there is freedom. It's only when we leave the prison there is freedom. So one has to find out where is the end of conformity. Oh, come on.
The awareness of the present moment.
No, don't. That's a theory. So are we aware that we are conforming? I wish you would discuss this. Is it like playing a role in a theatre? What? Who is playing the role? Playing what role? Your role. Is your role different from somebody else's role? So this is not a role. We're asking, if you don't mind, when one becomes aware, we are talking about awareness, nothing else. When one becomes psychologically aware of what is going on inwardly, then you inevitably come upon this question of tradition. Tradition being the acceptance of authority and so on, so on, so on. And as you become aware of it and look at it, what is your reaction? Huh? Now, the reaction is to free yourself from conformity, imitation. Do you?
There's also a reaction of fear. I would suggest that awareness of tradition and conformity is a necessary background for valuable creativity.
For?
Valuable creativity.
For creativity. Tradition and conformity is necessary as a background for creativity. So don't agree or disagree. So we have to look at what we mean by creativity. How can a second-hand mind be creative? How can a traditional mind be creative? I know. Oh, I don't have to go into all that, need we? Huh? What is creativity?
Do something new out of nothing.
Huh?
You do something new out of nothing, and not out of a basis.
Yeah, to do something out of nothing. You see, now we are indulging in description, in opinions, right? A writer who lives a shoddy little life and writes marvelous poetry, is he creative? Huh? And for God's sake, think it out. Don't. a man who is in conflict with himself and the world. He may produce a novel of that conflict, describing all the details, the tortures and psychological tantrums and all the rest of it. Is he creative? Here we are. So, we have to find out what it means to be creative. You are merely observing somebody else and judging whether he is creative or not. Right? You have never found out for yourself what it means.
You don't act out of the class.
No, don't theorize, sir. What is, you see, that's why, unless you go into this very, very deeply in yourself, you will never find out. You are just theorizing. So come back. We'll come to what is that is, when one becomes aware of a traditional life, and the traditional life of so-called writers, creators, is conformity. Because they're conforming to a pattern. And they may have a talent, and you call them creative. That's not creative. No, I won't go into all that. So, when one becomes aware, I hope you are being aware of your conformity. What is your reaction to that conformity? You conform when you put on trousers and all the rest of it. When you have long hair, short hair. You conform to a fashion. You conform to a particular craze. You conform when you accept the authority of a guru. Would you have rejected that authority in the priest of your own country? Right? You're following all this? And mind wants to conform. Why? What is the movement of conformity, and from where does it spring? Go on, sir.
Wish to be with and not against.
When I was a child, if I didn't conform to my parents' wishes, their love was withdrawn from me. I was punished. When I went to school, if I didn't conform, I was an outcast.
I agree, sir.
Now, if I don't conform, everybody won't love me. I'm not invited to their parties. I'm not accepted.
I agree.
I want to be loved. It's a different
So, yeah, I understand. Why does the mind want to conform? I know when I'm a child, they tell me to, and all the rest of it, we all know that. But I'm asking a question. Why does the mind, the psyche, want to conform? And where is it that the mind says it's absurd to conform? Yes, sir. I want to belong to the Hitlerian group. I want to belong to the Mao group. I want to belong to the communist group. I've got tribalism in my blood. No, just see it suffer. How hopeless it is to this. Wait, sir. Yes? We are going to find out, sir. Are you aware that you are conforming? And when you are aware that you are conforming, what is your reaction? And are you aware of that reaction? And if you are aware of that reaction, you will never, and go beyond that reaction, you will never find out what it means to be intelligent, so that there is conformity and total non-conformity. Have I conveyed something? So, we can't reject all conformity, can we? No, don't please say no. Think it out.
It isn't necessary to reject all conformity. It depends on the level. Conformity is in minor things like wearing trousers or socks.
Madam, that's what we are saying.
But what is involved is the conscience. Conformity is the conscience. Then it matters.
Let's put it down the other way. Is intelligence the outcome of conformity? Yes, sir.
When you recognize the conformity, then the non-conformity or the conformity doesn't matter. You don't resist it, you just be aware of it.
So is awareness, please listen, sir, with regard to conformity, does it awaken intelligence? No, you haven't. I am aware, I become aware of conformity. And I am aware of the reaction to that conformity. There is an awareness of either rejection or acceptance of that reaction. When I reject, is it a rejection which is a reaction, or is it a rejection of intelligence? Wait. Therefore, awareness is an act of intelligence. I wonder if you get this. Bene? Dica per favore avanti. No, speak French, speak Italian, sir. Dolcemente, lentamente.
Vorrei fare un passo indietro.
Due passi.
La tradizione è scelta, questo è chiaro, è quello che vi induce a fare una scelta. Ma io le chiedo, di fronte a uno stimolo esterno, di fronte a un fatto, senza scelta, come avrò io a che fare con quel fatto?
Bene. When I'm confronted with a fact, how can I? Come? How can I, without reaction, face that fact, without choosing? When I'm confronted with a fact and action is necessary, I have to choose. Now, what...
If not, how can I have my energy to...
I understand that. Yes, I understand, sir, I understand. Look, sir, I'm confronted with a fact. And can I be aware of that fact without choice? And from that choiceless awareness, act with regard to the fact. Are we playing tricks with each other? I'm confronted with a fact. Does the fact demand a choice? The fact.
But it demands an action.
Wait. It demands either an action or non-action. Of course. Come on, so be quick, avanti.
Excuse me, I am on a road, I am driving. There are divisions.
That I'm on a road, I understand. Wait, sir, wait. I'm on a road and I come to a fork. And either there is an indication which says go where you want to go, there's no choice. But there is no indication, then I have to choose. Therefore I ask somebody, which is the way to Pisa. It's very simple. There's no choice. What are you want? Huh? Somebody on the road. And therefore, I'm asking. When you are, I know all the tricks. I'm asking. Does fact, please, a fact demand a choice? The fact, listen, the fact I suffer, the fact does it demand choice? The fact never demands choice. It is my reaction to the fact. Of course, I can escape from that suffering. I can rationalize that suffering, run away from that suffering, do everything. The fact never demands choice. It only demands action. Also, look, there is a snake, that's a fact. And the fact that it may be poisonous. Therefore, the fact demands action. Either you leave it alone, play with it, and all the rest of it. You're not making all this. I want to come back to the point, so I wish you would go with this, because it's your life we are talking about, not my life.
Doesn't the fact create the action?
That's it. Fact demands action. That's the same thing. Yes, sir. That's just it. If I see what is, there is no confusion. If I see that I'm a liar, there is no confusion. If I see I'm double talking, or if I hate somebody, there is no problem. The fact demands action.
I don't see why the fact of suffering doesn't demand action, but the fact that it's great demands action.
So I took that as an example, sir. Forget the example, but see, I'm asking, when you are aware that you are conforming, and you are aware of your choice, aware of your reaction, and has that reaction another series of reactions? You follow? Right? Then one is living in the past all the time. Now, when you become aware of conformity without reaction, just to observe it, then that awareness is the act of intelligence. Right? I hope some of you get it. I can't go on and on and on. So, awareness, it has no choice. Awareness is an act of intelligence. Now move from there to the next thing, which is, what is the relationship of awareness to inattention and to attention? That's what we are discussing.
Inattentive would need to be fragmented.
What's that?
Inattentive fragmented.
We're going to find out, sir. We're going to inquire. Now, is the mind aware totally or only partially? Aware of its unconscious activities. Or is it aware only at the superficial level? Go on, sir, please.
Can help to see the human being as a part of that nature, so that also the mind, when he's able to function naturally, he's in a more relaxed state. Everything that is not natural, all kinds of findings out are blocking us, standing in the way.
Sir, if you don't mind, what we are discussing has great significance because we are concerned, please, I must go back to it, we are concerned with the responsibility as a human being to bring about a radical change in the human mind. You understand? That's what we are concerned through all the talks, through all the discussions. Because when one's consciousness changes, you affect the consciousness of the world. You understand this?
It is so that the inattention exists because of our traditional background.
We're going to find out, sir, but I want to point out that all the talks, in the 7 talks that we've had, and the dialogue, conversation that we are having now, is involved with the transformation of the human mind, the content of it. Because the content, the human consciousness, has created this appalling, suffering, confused world where there is hunger, war, violence, division, the corruption of politics. That's going on. Any man who feels responsible for all this has to act, not just sit down, theorize. So, one of our the corrupting factor is conformity. And how is the mind, not how, does the mind realize the nature of conformity, intelligence, and awareness, right? So we have examined somewhat conformity, and we are asking now, what is the relationship of attention to inattention and to awareness, right? They're all related. Why is the mind inattentive? Not can the mind be continuously attentive. You see the difference? Is a continuous attention? Now, do go into it. Has attention the movement of time? So I have to inquire into the factor of inattention. Not what is attention. Please see the importance of it. That is, I am attentive 1 minute. That's quite a long time. Attentive, I give my mind, my nerves, everything I have to attend, to listen, to see. And in that attention, I have all the energy captured. All the energy is there. In that energy, there is tremendous clarity. Now, it's over. Next minute, I'm inattentive. Right? Then I say to myself, goodness, I wish I could keep that attention all the time. So I begin to train, listen to it, train myself. I begin to train myself, say I must be attentive. I must watch myself. I must drill myself. I must eat the right food. I must concentrate on attention. You follow? But I never ask, what is inattention? Because attention I have had for a second or for a minute, and I fall back into inattention. The understanding of inattention is much more important than attention. You've got it? Right? Is that clear? May we go on? Now, what is inattention? Why is the mind inattentive? And why shouldn't the mind be inattentive?
Is inattention the attention of changing objects?
No, sir, no, sir. Sir, look. Oh my. No, sir, I explain. 1 minute, I'm very attentive. I see everything very clearly. I have no conflict. There is a sense of great thing, to be completely attentive. There is no problem, there is nothing. And that attention goes away. And I suddenly find myself, I'm inattentive. I have lost that quality of clarity. And then I say, how am I to recapture that attention? And I struggle. And I ask questions. And I get miserable because I can't get that attention. So I'm saying, what is important is not the understanding of attention for the moment, but the understanding of inattention. Right? That's simple enough, sir. What is inattention? Why is the mind inattentive?
Not by
So you are saying when the operation of thought may cause inattention, is that it? Are you sure what you're saying, sir? Or is just a guess that, don't let us guess this. It's not a guessing game. I want to find out the importance of inattention. Please listen. The importance of inattention and the importance of attention. Right? Inattention may be the mind needs rest. Needs not that heightened, energetic, tremendous attention. And therefore it says, let me have a few minutes. But in those few minutes, just listen to it. In those few minutes, any action becomes corrupting action. You understand what I'm talking? I wish you would come with me quickly. I'm racing and you're not. Look, I'm attentive for 1 minute. And there is no border, there is no time, there is no me, there is no problem. The whole energy is involved in that attention. It's a heightened attention, energy. That's it. For the mind, that's tremendous movement. Then it's tired. And moves to inattention. Now, in that state of inattention, any action must be conditioning. Right? Capito, Signora? You understand my... Look, I'm attending. In that state of attention, I can do things without effort, without thought, do things. That's real creativeness, but we won't go into that. And in the state of inattention, action has to go on. Right? I have to meet a friend. I'm bored with that. Action has to happen. At the moment of action, if I am aware, inattention is not. I wonder if you're following all this. You understand my question, sir? The moment mind is aware that is inattentive, there is attention. Not that we must maintain attention. I wonder if you understand this. So, inattention is part of attention. Got it? Bene. Not from inattention go to attention. You know, sir, meditation is total attention. In which concentration, which has a motive and therefore an end, doesn't exist at all. Are you following all this? And in meditation there can be inattention. You understand? Oh, do follow this. No, you don't. Please don't agree with me. I don't think you follow what I'm saying because it's really quite complex, this thing. I mustn't discuss meditation because that's not the moment. Perhaps we can do it tomorrow if you want it. What I'm pointing out is, in the state of attention, it's a movement. It's not a dead thing. It's a movement of attention. Movement, not the movement of time. Movement of time is concentration. In that quality of attention, there is no time. There is no border. You understand border? A fixation. Because there is no center and therefore no circumference. That is attention. Now, in that attention, why shouldn't there be inattention? You follow? It is within the whole area. I don't separate inattention from attention. I wonder if you get this. It's only when inattention says, but Johan, I must leave this and capture that, then you separate inattention from attention.
So are you saying when was awareness inattention, inattention has no inattention?
No, sir. No, sir. Now the problem of what time is it? Kilavati. What? So look, conformity is a wastage of energy. Right? When I conform to the pattern set by a tradition, the whole involvement of tradition, not just one tradition, the whole, that is authority and all that. When there is conformity, there is a wastage of energy. But then there is conflict. I mustn't conform. And where am I to draw the line of conformity? You follow all this? So that is a wastage of energy. And accepting authority, let's understand this before, that is, there's the authority of law. Right? That I have to conform to, otherwise I'll be put in prison. That is, if I don't conform to the road, keep to the left or to the right, well, I'm soon have an accident. So I have to conform. Now we're saying conformity, when we become aware of that, the whole nature of conformity, and I see what is implied in it, and I see there is a wastage of energy, in that awareness of attention and inattention, you follow? Then a totally different intelligence comes into being, which then says, conform, don't conform. It is not your reactions that dictate. I wonder if you get this. Am I going too fast?
I think you should go over the fact that
Wait.
that inattention is not living in the past.
No. No, you're translating differently. What? I don't know what I said just now. I can't repeat it. Look, sir, we are rather a mindless people. We are reflexive people, always reacting. Now I've got a problem of conformity, which is part of the structure of tradition. The mind becomes aware of the implications and the structure of conformity. Why the mind conforms? Because it's afraid, it wants to protect itself, and so on and so on. Now, in that awareness, when there is a reaction, it is still a reflexive reaction. Now, and I see in that awareness the reflexive reactions or from my background. And the background says conform. Right? So, can the mind become aware of conformity, its reactions, and its successive waves of reactions? Out in that attention there is an intelligence which operates and tells you when to conform, when not to conform, which is not based on reaction, right? It's simple enough. Wait, sir, you will say what you have to say. Have you understood what I have to say? Right.
What I was pointing out to you was that maybe some people are interpreting inattention as thought. Because obviously
We are going to, sir, we are going to the question of what is inattention. Because, sir, the highest form of intelligence is necessary to, in a mad world. And our intelligence is not yours or mine. Of course not. It is not national, it is not religious, it is not religious in the sense belonging to a religion. It is the very essence of religion. Wait, I'm going to go into it if you will listen. And that intelligence which operates at all levels, and it is really religious intelligence, not the phony religious thing. And I see that as the mind, which has conformed for generations, is merely becoming more and more mechanical. And such a mind, whatever it will do to transform the world or bring about greater this and that, is still in a world of conformity. Right? Please follow this. And my concern is that the consciousness of a human being must be changed in order to bring about a different structure and nature, function in the world. I'm consumed with that responsibility. It's not just words. And I see that human beings are very little aware. They're aware of their own pleasures and their own fulfillments and their own desires and their frustrations and their angers and all the rest of it. But that's a very small area of awareness. And awareness implies the total movement. In that movement, there is no choice, which we went to. To be so attentive, to sustain that attention, perhaps very few can do it. And they have been practicing to maintain that attention, which is the whole idea of meditation. And I see where there is concentration, which has a motive, restriction, resistance, it is not awareness. And there is also a state of inattention. Is inattention different, something opposite to attention? Huh? The other side of the coin. I want to find out, not verbally, I want to find out what is the relationship between attention and inattention. The moment you say it is the other side of the coin, the image is, I create an image, I say yes, but I haven't found out. It isn't a reality, it's just a descriptive image which I have accepted. So I have to find out. What is inattention? And why shouldn't the mind be inattentive? It is only in that state of inattention, either there is an increase of pleasure or increase of fear. To that I respond. You follow? In that state of inattention, I'm asking what is wrong with it? Why shouldn't I be inattentive? Huh? What? I don't know. I don't know. Why shouldn't I be inattentive? I have been attentive. Look, sir, I have been attentive for an hour and a half here. And why shouldn't I be inattentive for a few minutes? What's wrong? Is that inattention and unawareness? And see, sir. No. Yes, sir. We've said that earlier. You're not meeting my point. No, sir, I'm not talking quietness or anything. Just, I am attentive. I've been attentive the whole hour. And why shouldn't I now be inattentive? Just remain there for a minute. Is inattention then something opposite to attention? No. Or is the mind taking a rest? That's not inattention. No. Sir, look, sir. For an hour and a half, the speaker has been attentive. And he says, I will rest. The rest period is not inattention. Wait. What? Not at all. Not at all. He's saying sensitivity implies attention. And when there is inattention, do you lose sensitivity? So just look. When you have been attending for a long time, as we have in this tent, if you have this morning, the mind says, I'm resting. In that rest, the mind can respond instantly to attention. Instantly. But it is taking quiet, it is resting. What is wrong with that? Huh? Then what are we objecting to? Wait! Go slow, I'll show you what you are... In that state of inattention, which is, you are never inattentive.
So this rest is the real attention.
Oh my God.
This rest is the real attention.
Sir, may I give me 2 minutes, will you? Just follow. Attention. We know what that means, more or less. The mind can't sustain that attention unless you have gone very, very, very deeply into it. And the mind gets tired and says, rest. In that period of rest, it can respond to attention instantly. And there is another kind of inattention. Another kind of rest, which is, I have captured for a second attention, and I am struggling to maintain that attention. The struggle to maintain that attention is inattention. And out of that inattention, I can't respond instantly. I'll respond according to my tradition. Of course, sir. Doesn't matter. I know I'm using that. It's a big, quick enough move.
Can I clarify? When you're talking about the mind being stressed, is the mind aware of
Sir. Are you ever inattentive? When you are driving, I mustn't use a simile. I won't use similes because that's dangerous. You know what it is to be inattentive? Don't you? We all know it. In that state of inattention, we do things which bring conflict. We do things which are not nice. We do things which maybe hurt others and so on. We know that inattention, right?
we don't know it at the moment, we only know it after.
Yes, but that is the state of inattention, right? When I say nasty things about you, or criticize you, or say you're a nice man, be friends with me, and so on, so on. Follow. Those are all, we know that. And in that state of inattention, actions go on, right? Don't we act? Of course, when I say something nasty, I'm acting. So most of us know what it is to be inattentive. That inattention has no relation to attention. I can't move, the mind can't move from that inattention to attention. If that movement will still be inattention. Right? Are you getting tired? So I see that. So I see this. Awareness, sensitivity, awareness, attention. In that state of attention, that state of attention is complete, the summation of energy. Unless you have your body, your mind, and everything is in complete harmony, you can't maintain that attention for a whole hour. Impossible, or an hour and a half. There is that attention for a while. In that attention, there is also inattention, right? You say, well, I'm resting. I'll be quiet. that inattention is totally different from the ordinary inattention. Got it? That's all. Good morning.